Hi guys, in this video we're going to talk about the introduction to Valmiki's Astropalmistry, and it's introducing the general premise of the entire book and also getting you guys up to speed on why I wrote this. And in order to do so, I need to explain the concept of Jyotish. Jyotish is an Indian term which basically refers to all systems of divination like palmistry, astrology, numerology, and all of these. They all fall under the umbrella of Jyotish. And there are two forms of Jyotish. The first is the one that makes you look at the universe around you. So that's observing the stars in the sky, which is astrology, observing the terrain around you, which is Vastu. The second style of Jyotish is looking at an individual, and that's palm reading, looking at face reading, the lines on the feet. There's outer Jyotish and inner Jyotish, so to speak. But the mystical secret here is that they're both actually the same. Everything that happens inside you is a mirror of everything happening in the world around you, and vice versa as well. That's really what Valmiki's Astropalmistry is all about. It's a bridge between the inner Jyotish and the outer Jyotish, and putting them both together. Now, to explain what I mean by this, all the ancient scriptures and all the ancient systems on divination and Jyotish were written by pretty much the same group of monks, or monks who are in the same systems or in the same schools in the ancient world. And one of the most famous monks in ancient India was a sage by the name of Valmiki. He's most famous for having written the Ramayan, which is not only one of the best known epics in ancient India, but it's probably the most well-known epic throughout the world. It's one of the finest pieces of literature that mankind has ever understood. In addition to being a great poet, Valmiki was also an astropalmist. He designed one of these bridges that combine inner Jyotish with outer Jyotish. And so inside his epic, he wrote an entire system of astropalmistry. And this is the reason that there are so many references to astrology within the Ramayan. For example, when Sugriv and Vali fight, Valmiki wrote that the two brothers fought like the clash of Mercury and Mars in the night sky. Now that's an awfully specific reference, and it only makes sense in the light of astrology. Later, when Vali was killed by Ram, Valmiki wrote that Ram shone like the sun. And later in that same verse, Valmiki also wrote that Sugriva's elation vanished before Vali's affection, like a moon under an eclipse. So there's three very specific references to astrology in the Ramayan, and it's all written by Valmiki in verse format. So there's a couple different ways to look at the Ramayan itself. The first is to see it as a war between the god incarnate Ram and the demon king Ravana. And if you look at the story from that perspective, it's very interesting and it makes a lot of sense, but it's not the full picture. You see, if you look beneath the surface here, especially from an astropalmist perspective, you'll see a whole divination system that many people aren't even aware of. You see, Ram was a student of another sage called Vashistha. And Vashistha was a very famous monk. He wrote some of the verses in the Vedas, but he was also a very famous astrologer. In fact, it was Vashistha who delineated the entire zodiac system around the sun. So if you think of the star signs like Aries, Taurus, Gemini, and so on, that's Vashistha's work. He set that up. Now, Ravan, Rama's enemy, he was his grandson of another great sage by the name of Pulatsya. And that guy, not only was he a famous monk, but he was also a very famous astrologer as well. In fact, Pulatsya had his own system of astrology, and that was based around the moon. So one way to look at the Ramayan is it's actually a conflict between solar astrology through Vashistha versus lunar astrology through Pulatsya. Or, instead of it being a battle between a god and a demon, it's a battle between one school of solar astrology versus one school of lunar astrology. And this whole conflict is told through the lens of Valmiki, a master palmist. And so each scene in the Ramayan actually involves a character who represents an astrological planet interacting with an object from palmistry, such as a bow, a spear, or a mountain. And so in this way, the Ramayan hides a unique system of palmistry that's unknown in the West. And even most professional astrologers and palmists in India don't know this. But if you want to learn more about this, hit subscribe on our channel or pick up a copy of the book. We'll teach you all about it. Thank you very much.